So what's going on, Trucketeers? It's the Truck Guy here. Wanted to get back to you with another video, and today we're doing the Stanley Retractable Utility Knife, model number 10-779. So I just picked this up on Amazon for $13.46. So it is going to set you back a little bit, not too far, but again, this isn't a bargain basement type of knife. So I've seen this one on Amazon for quite a while, and it's always caught my eye just because it's got these big black grips. It's the classic Stanley yellow, so it's what we all know and love. But it's got these huge grips on it, so I've always kind of wondered about it and just thought, I've definitely got to pick this up. It's been too long, and I've got to review it for you. So let's go ahead and jump into the review, and let's do it. So, as you can see with this Stanley, it's pretty basic. It's almost as basic as the classic 99 for the most part, except we've got a few features here. So it's got the interlocking functionality to secure the blade. They're hooking us up with 3 blades, so we can definitely thank Stanley ahead of time for coming through when we need them most and hooking us up with those blades. It's retractable. We've got to get into this knife with the screwdriver, so there's no frills here, no thrills. We're going to have to go in the old-fashioned way. So let's enlist the 1505 from Milwaukee, and we'll go ahead and break into the knife. So we'll use our screwdriver extension. Definitely check out the 1505 review if you haven't. This is an awesome knife from Milwaukee. We'll go ahead and get the knife open so we can get it out of the packaging. So we'll get our screw out. We'll get the interlock disconnected. We'll get our packaging out of the way. And what do we got inside? We've got our 3 blades in back, so we definitely have blade storage. Not easily accessible blade storage, but you can probably get, 5, 6, maybe even 7 blades in the back here. And once you've got the blade, all you do is set it in the blade tray. And one of the funky things about the 779, had to refresh myself on the model number, but about the 779 is you can't lay the blade in with the point down and lay it back. You have to lay the top in first under that lip and then set it down in the blade tray. And that's actually kind of a nice feature from Stanley because it keeps that blade, as you can see, from flying around. Just because you're under a lip here in the front. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but right here is that lip that you need to get under. But that's an advantage because you're not going to have that blade flying around in your blade tray. So what you do from there is you set the blade tray into the knife along the grooves. Looks like you've got 2 positions up to full extension, so you can actually see the positions in the knife once you've got it open on the 779. Or pretty much any standard utility knife, so that's pretty cool. But you can use these as a guide to set your knife in. I usually do it at the furthest back position, or set your blade in for that matter. Then what you do is set in the interlocking mechanism, and that kind of keeps the knife together. So that's actually a patented interlocking system by Stanley, which I didn't know. But pretty cool feature there. I would say it's pretty routine, but at the same time, that's a pretty important feature as well, to know that once you interlock, your knife is properly positioned. Then you can go ahead, take your screw it down in, and tighten your knife up, and then you're ready to go. So we've got our knife tightened up, and then you can move that blade up in your positions up to full extension, but I'm not going to lie, this is a rough slider. So up to 1 position, we're good. 2 positions, a little sticky, but we're still okay. That last position, that's really tough. And you can see I'm not even... my slider isn't even, pulling up. So I'll come back to the slider in a minute, but I also want to touch on feel. This knife, it's a fairly simple design, but I actually like the feel of the knife. It feels good in the hand. It feels comfortable, and I'm actually really liking this grip on both sides. I mean, you've got a lot of grip, which having this much grip is extremely helpful if you're in, wet conditions, if you've got moisture. This is actually going to come in pretty handy because you've just got a lot of grip here. I like the yellow too, yellow and black. You can't argue with it from Stanley. It's definitely going to get the job done. One thing I did notice is how ridiculously banged up this knife was from Amazon. It's got dings and dents all over the place. As you can see up top, it's just really in rough condition. So they kind of, even on the bottom here too, they didn't do a very nice job delivering this knife to me. I don't know when the damage occurred. We're not going to blame Amazon, but at the same time, keep your eye out for any damage. But it feels good. It feels good in the hand. I like it. It's comfortable. They kept with the classic Stanley design. So, again, no cons to the body style. It's got the lanyard loop. Nothing to write home about, but that'll get the job done. Although, that will get in the way. You'll have to, when you expand the knife open, you'll have to deal with the lanyard, kind of getting stuck and having to reposition that. So, neither here nor there, but just be careful. Lanyards in these types of knives don't tend to work the best, so not really a huge feature there. But the biggest problem with this knife, and hopefully it's just mine, but comment down below if it's happened to you as well with the 779, is that slider just is atrocious. You have to really pull that blade at the end to even get the slider to kind of position itself normally. I don't know what's going on because we've looked inside this knife and I don't see anything that would, kind of forecast an issue for us on the internal workings of the knife. So to me, it just seems like kind of a manufacturing issue or a design issue, one of the two from Stanley, but that is just extremely sticky. I'm not, trying to embellish this. That slider, as you can see, it really just does not pull back until you get to that first position, and even to the last position, it seems like it's working well, and then you go farther up and it really just sticks, and then you've got to pull it even to get it to function normally. So let's take one more look at the inner workings and see if we can detect anything on the inside of the 779. So it's going 1, 2, and then this is where we're getting a lot of stick. So it looks like really the likely problem is just the simple fact that this blade holder is really tight through this housing. And one thing we could try to do is to bend down our button, see if we can get that to remove some of the resistance. So let's give it one more shot here with the 779. If you are doing that at home, I'd recommend wearing gloves. So it's improved, but we still, now we're not getting our slider popping up enough. So I have to say, this is probably the worst Stanley knife that I've encountered, and I usually don't go too hard on Stanley, and I like a lot of Stanley knives, but this is definitely the worst Stanley knife because the slider is just awful. It's irredeemable. There's really no way to get it to work properly. If you bend it up, it's too tight. If you bend it down, it's too loose. But it's still sticking regardless of what you do. So I think the blade holder is just it's just too big for this housing, so it's causing a major issue with the 779. Frankly, guys, this knife is never going to be used again. It's not reliable. With that slider mechanism in there, it's just not going to be something that the truck guy can use. If you're going to go Stanley, the Classic 99. I mean, look at the slider on this knife. It just rockets up to full extension. You can feel all those positions. It does what it's supposed to do. You could even go with the upgraded Classic 99, the 499. It's a wonderful slider. So I don't know what's going on here with Stanley and the 779. Maybe I just got a bad slider, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing. So with the 779, there is a lot left to be desired. I really wanted to like this knife, and I thought I would. It's got the elements to it. You know, it's a bright yellow and black Stanley. It's looking like the Classic 99, but with some upgrades. But it did not live up to expectations, and that's why we review these products. That's why we take a very close look at the sliders and all the features to see what is going on with each of these knives. And at over 13 bucks, I don't want you guys to go out and get this knife if it's not living up to expectations. So this is a Stanley knife I would avoid. But thank you guys for watching. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. And as always, we'll talk to you on the next video.